Hello and welcome to Free Cheese episode 447. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Zellner.
Hello.
Mark Augustiniak.
What's up?
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, to coincide with WrestleMania 38, we're playing and talking about WWF No Mercy, arguably one of the best wrestling games in wrestler history. Is that correct, Matthew?
I would say so.
I love it. Throughout the show, we will have some segments to tie back into WWF No Mercy, some roundtable questions, and of course, we will rank WWF No Mercy against all of the other games on the Free Cheese Season 10, which you can follow along over at thefreecheese.com/thelist. I'm going to start off. I feel like Mark's already going to have an answer, so I'm going to start with Matt.
Okay.
I love that.
Vince McMahon's on the phone.
Oh boy.
He's ready to sign you. He needs to know right now, though, what is your wrestler name going to be?
Oh. I don't know. I'm harkening back as a kid. I used to call myself the Underwear Man.
The Underwear Man. Were you a big fan of Dave Pilkey's Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Probably not. No.
Okay.
Don't even know what they are. So,
All right.
no, I used to, I don't know. I was bored while I was homeschooled. I used to, like, run around the house and pretend I was wrestling. And, yeah, for a while, run around in my underwear. Call myself the Underwear Man.
All right. I didn't know if this is like an underwear on head
this
situation.
is news to Victoria, so she's laughing behind me if you hear background laughing.
She's waiting on you to recreate your childhood. That's all. It's because it will
I was
happen
wearing the
at some
tights,
point.
man. I was in, full character.
We all go backwards at some point. It'll come out. Mark, where do you think you would end up?
Man, I actually don't have a name, surprisingly. I feel like I'd have one of those like McFoley situations where I'd have like 4 different characters.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
You know?
Yeah. You would.
He's not all of them at the same time, though. You know that, right? He's usually...
Well, yeah.
No, but it'll be a phase thing where it'll just,
Right, okay. I
Like
just don't want him to kind of be Cactus Jack and all of a sudden he's Dude Love in like 30 seconds.
No, I think it would. You'd
See,
have
but
eras
that would
of
be
Mark.
my thing.
Right,
though, is that
okay,
I would
okay.
do that.
Walk off stage, walk back after a costume change, like a Janet Jackson show.
Yeah.
I get it.
Thrown out the ring, go through a secret trapdoor, and
Yeah, that checks out.
By God, it's mankind.
I'd probably be like, you know what? To be like Matt's heel, I think I want instead of like I want to be like a knockoff of Edge, but be called Wedge. and just tuck my underwear up like really high.
See, I went with like
Are
a
you
wedge
also
of cheese. I
part
thought
of
you'd
the-
be carrying cheese with you.
Are you also part of the Broods, though? Like, do you have fangs? Like, are you part of it?
It's definitely going to be like some like parody group. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's just part of the official, just part of the Brood. What is it? It's Gangrel.
Here's Edge and Wedge.
Yeah. Just walking down to like the music and the red lights.
Yeah, the
and
Brood.
just have
the red lights that are blinking. Oh God.
Tiny Whitey's just like up to my stomach, like past my belly button, like
Perfect. The wedge.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You guys both have like an underwear thing going on. The wedge.
Well, I mean,
Was it
He's
Mr.
my heel.
Underpants?
He's my direct heel.
he
All right, yeah, that's fair.
he did inspire me for this.
What you could do with your multiple personalities is just like Edge rhymes with a bunch of stuff. So you'd be like Wedge, Sledge. I don't know what else rhymes with it.
yeah.
Maybe I took that for granted. Maybe it's just not as many
Hedge.
as
I'm
there
just
you
a
go.
shrubbery coming down.
Yep.
You know. Yeah. See, I like where we're going with this.
There's been
The
worse.
pledge. You could
Oh.
be like, you could have like a whole American theme going on.
Just like an American flag toga.
Or be a frat boy that's not like trying to enter in all these stables and can't get in. Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah, American flag toga.
All right, let me
Yep.
take some notes for the inevitable FCW Season 2 now. And
Yeah, that. which I feel like you could likely use WWF No Mercy as the
for sure.
basis for it, right?
For sure. This is the original.
Yeah. This one has it all, man. WWF No Mercy is quite a video game for wrestling fans. So first released November 17th, 2000 on the Nintendo 64. For context, just remember the PlayStation 2 is out at this point. Has been for 6 months in Japan, a couple of weeks in America. The GameCube is 1 year away, and the Xbox is 1 year away. And at the N64, we get WWF No Mercy. Developed by, really, Aki Corporation is probably the primary developer. There's a couple of names listed on this one, but that's the primary one. Published by THQ. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I thought so. I don't know why I'm second-guessing that.
It's Jax, isn't it?
Yes.
God, now I can't remember the title card. Because I skip it.
Yeah, there's like 35 of them. Yeah, it is THQ. Yeah. I don't know why I'm second guessing. I think I've just been thinking about a bunch of wrestling games now after this and forgetting who did what. But related games by the same developers, Virtual Pro Wrestling 64 and Def Jam Vendetta. Just to give you a little bit of a taste if you've not played WWF No Mercy, that kind of, that's what you're missing out on. Or that's same cut from the same cloth. Back of the box quote. Nice, short, sweet. Jump into the ring with the biggest, baddest jabronis around and experience brutal WWF action never before seen in a console game. I miss that word so much.
Jabroni.
Yeah, I need to hold on. I need to right click that, and I need you to learn spelling. Thank you, computer. Do not forget that.
Like, you know how we keep adding new words to the dictionary? I feel like jabroni is like a new meat we just added to the deli. Yeah,
it always has. Yes, it very much has a salami or like a sandwich meat cut or sound to it.
Yeah.
So I'd never played WWF No Mercy prior to, us playing it for this week's show. I had WWF, maybe still have WWF Warzone on PS1. See, and then I'm sure I had another one, at least rented. I definitely remember renting, what was it, WCW Nitro for N64? I remember that had a huge roster, and everything was fire. And I don't remember much else from that. But my memory of all of those games is how stiff they were, and how this one is not. We'll talk more about gameplay, but that was kind of my first impression this week playing it. I know, Matt, you've had a history with it, but Mark, what was your kind of first impression jumping in and playing No Mercy?
So similar background with you. I think it feels familiar, but at the same time, I don't think I really played this one when it was out. Most of my time was in WCW versus NWO.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, I had WWF Raw is War, I think.
Yep.
That's 64. Man, you want to talk about rough. That was, but I loved it. But playing this, man, it just you want to jump in, get right to it. It gets right to it. There is no fat on this game. It's all lean, and it's mostly simple to pick up. I had to look up the manual and try to learn some things. But otherwise, it felt like my experience from WCW versus NWO was coming into play here, where it was all right, yeah, you grapple and you hold a direction, hit a button, and all right, it does a different thing each direction, and depending where you grab and all that stuff. So it felt so nice and simple and just super intuitive. Even though I don't remember moving characters with the D-pad.
Yeah, that was a little odd to me.
And taunting with the joystick.
Yes.
For some reason, I remember other games where you moved with the joystick, but I don't know if I'm misremembering.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, it's like I don't remember many 64 games where you used the D-pad like primarily. And
yeah, it was not common.
Now, if anyone were to ask me that question, I have an answer, and I'm going to say WWF No Mercy.
Yeah. I feel like I've thought sometimes to make that one of the, I don't know, like random questions of the week or whatever, like which N64. I've thought about N64 and D-pad games, or make it like a trivia question or something, and then I'm like, gosh, I don't even know which ones did, but yeah, now I have the one answer. So Matt, I mean, you're returning to it for the first time in a long time. When's the last time you actually played some No Mercy?
I've always dabbled, go back to an emulator with it, for a match or two every now and then the last few years. But realistically, since I never had an N64, probably since my childhood, oh God, probably still being homeschooled or middle school at this point. Or 2000, I was 8. I was homeschooled. It's probably around then when it first kind of came out. Up until we played this game up until I think my friends kind of got a GameCube and all the other stuff. But just kind of add more context to what you said about the PlayStation 2, WWF SmackDown is released in March earlier this year as well. So we kind of get our first. Or we start to see our first segue out of very stiff PlayStation wrestling games. SmackDown, a lot less stiff. It's actually a lot faster. It's actually faster than No Mercy, kind of, if I remember correctly. So, like, you see that, and then, you go from WWF WrestleMania 2000 to No Mercy the following year, and really, like, this is it. And man, it's so much. It was it, like, me and my friends back then, we made our own characters. We made stables. We did real life heel turns on one another, and went to each, of another friend's stable. We would have matches. We unlocked all the belts. We would wrestle for the belts. We would create pay-per-view cards for our created wrestlers and for actual wrestlers for all these different, like, all the belt. Like, it was not just like a game, but like we took it beyond that to like real life, just to kind of try to relive what we could out of the Attitude Era and the peak of wrestling at this point. And man, but like just the fact that like WWF No Mercy gave us the tools to kind of do that back in 2000 is wild, and it's so good. It's like not even that nostalgia level. Like, coming back to it, I had so much fun this past week. It's just really good for a wrestling game.
I think that's one of the things about this game that's most interesting to me is looking at our list of everything this year. This was one of those ones where I was like, I know what I'm getting into. You know what I mean? And I will say that, like, I think anytime I've done that on the list so far, where I have like a rough idea of like, I know what this is, I've always been surprised. And I think that's just like, I don't know. That's what video games can be. Is just they're not always what you think they are. There's always layers to it. And this was one though where I was like, yeah, I know what it is, right? Like I used a lot of my memory of those other games to think about what this was, and then actually like touching it, playing it, feeling it, whatever. Like it's a lot more. And the interesting thing is like being done with it, or like stopping a session, I still like wanted to play more, which I did not think was going to happen with this game, because it's a 20-year-old, 22-year-old wrestling game, like early 3D stuff. I just played Thrill Kill this week. Not sure if you guys remember Thrill Kill. Unreleased fighting game for the PlayStation. You may know it by its modified version that did get released, which was the Wu-Tang game. Was it Shaolin Monks? Thrill Kill unreleased, but I played that just screwing around, and it's not good. Like, 3D fighting games are tough to pull off in that era, and this showed where like they did it well. Because that's the weird thing about this is like, I don't know, when I remember watching wrestling, I never remembered like actual just like beatdowns in the ring. I just always remembered like the flashes, the pops, all of those things about wrestling that are like whatever, but you forget about like the little moment to moment thing. And in this game, you're doing a lot of like basically a Street Fighter style, just like hit them until their meter is gone. You don't really, the meter's not a set meter, like, you know, watch the bar go down, but it does change colors over time until, you know, well, there's multiple things to that. I had that right? Like you're changing colors because you're getting tired. I noticed that on mine.
It's like momentum based almost. As you pull off moves, your meter begins to build. I think it's called the Mercy, or the No Mercy meter, or no, it's the Attitude meter. Sorry, it's the Attitude meter. That you know, as you kind of pull off moves, and you're mixing them up too. If you keep doing the same stuff, it will actually go down. But if you're you know, mixing up your moves, executing them properly, it will start to build over time until you start to, you know, blink out of control, and then you taunt, and then that's when you get into your special or your finisher mode.
You just keep taunting until you you raise it up.
No, taunting, like, that is a very valid strategy. And I remember doing it as a kid, and I defaulted right back to that now.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about my first match I did, because I thought that was like indicative of the experience I had and you could have with this game. All I did, very first thing, was an exhibition match. So I didn't get into any of the stuff yet, right? Like because there's a lot of modes in this. I went through the entire roster because I wanted to see who was in this by default. And I was like, oh my God, like so many names I'd forgotten about and whatever. And I was like, all right, who am I going to land on? So I went with Undertaker first. He was never like my dude when I was a kid, but I was like, Undertaker feels right. I play Undertaker. And then I hit the random character selection for, my CPU opponent. And I forget who it landed on first, but I was like, I hit it again, and it was The Rock. And I was like, okay, yeah, this seems fitting. Let's do that. So I'm playing The Rock, and I'm like, at first I'm just like taunting, and I'm like, what is happening? And I realize you have to move with the D-pad. And then, I don't know, The Rock's kind of messing me up a good bit. Like, I think I'm getting the drop on him, but in fact, he's the one that's got the grapple, and then the throw, and I'm like, oh man, all right, this is going to go like this. And then I keep trying, and like, I end up like, I'm hitting him a good bit, and then I'm getting some grabs on him. I get him out of the ring. Like, I'm doing pretty good. And then at some point after I threw him out of the ring, he gets up, and he's blood all down his face in front of his body, and I'm like, oh, it's one of these. Okay. And I keep going for a bit. I get him cornered, and I'm just like bodying him in the corner of the ring. And it starts flashing danger in the bottom right where his icon is. I'm like, oh, I really did it. Okay. I also, at some point, I don't even know what I did, but I did one of Undertaker's signature moves. And I don't remember the name of it now at this point, but like seeing him do it, I was like, that was his thing. I remember, like, it's all coming back to me. And like the fact that like I did it without trying, and also it was recognizable enough for, like, there's unique aspects of all of these characters, and by default they've got there's like 16 characters on a page. There were like 5 or 6 pages of that, so like talking like almost 80 wrestlers,
dude. That's like 2/3 of this roster. I was gonna get into that. This game's very Smash Bros, like with the unlocking characters.
Jeez. Yeah. So like even that, right? But like it's seemingly they all have these unique aspects about them, and obviously we'll talk about the character creation and how intense and varied that is. But anyway, I was just impressed that I could pull all that off without knowing what I was doing. Best part though is the dynamism on display in this game, because I'm doing all of this. Rock's in danger, and I'm like, all right, I gotta figure out how to pin, because I'm sure that's what danger means. Don't have time, because I see something come from backstage. It's Kane charging the ring.
That happened to me too.
I was like, what is this? And then he comes in, and I'm like, okay, he's here to help me. And then I was like, wait, were Undertaker and Kane rivals? I can't remember. And then sure enough, Kane just whops me in the side of the head. And I'm like, all right, cool. The Rock's standing there like kind of dizzy and weird and bloody. And then Kane and I are just fighting. And then I moved back to just go under the Rock. And then Kane just kind of stands outside of the ring just with his arms folded looking at me. And then I pin the Rock and hooray. But yeah, again, like, from the fight itself, but I think like the stuff around the edges, like starting it and seeing, albeit a trimmed, but Undertaker and Rock's openings, like with the music samples, like for an N64 game. Like, not CD audio, but still, like, they sampled all this stuff. So it was crazy to me.
Yeah, like, my first match, I was X-Pac, and I was fighting Kurt Angle.
Perfect.
I never liked Kurt Angle growing up.
Who would?
I didn't
Kurt
like
Angle's
this.
a great heel, man. He's one of the best.
Just this reject American Gladiator, his dumb smile, everything about him just made me want to punch. I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're my first match. Spoilers, I lost because I didn't know how to pin or anything. But I was just beating the crap out of him, and then Kane just runs down the ramp, and I almost crap myself. I'm like, why is this happening? Of all people, but Xbox he came out with Trish, I think. So like Trish just came in out of nowhere, and just like would suplex Kane like off camera. I was like, yeah.
So let's talk about my first. I guess my first experience, but my first thing I did when I went back to it. The dynamicism of this game. I went and immediately went to the single player campaign. Went to the Women's Championship and proceeded to do it with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
Yep, and Stone Cold Steve Austin in my save is the Women's Champion right now.
Sure.
And there's a segment of that where there's a, like, of course, it's dumb, it's 2000 wrestling. There is, like, a bikini contest, like a story segment. And at one point, Stone Cold comes out in a bikini. And
man.
that's, that's part of it.
Weird.
But yeah, no, that's just how dumb this game is. Like, Stone Cold.
That also seems like something they would have done on real TV wrestling back then too.
Probably, absolutely, but yeah, mixed tags are in this match because that was part of the story mode for that. It was a mixed tag match with Val Venus, of course, of all people. And yeah, no, but man, like it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it. Go ahead, Bart.
How I read it in the booklet, and I think I was doing it wrong. But how exactly do you pull off your signature move?
Your special, like your absolute finisher.
Yeah, because it said like hold down a X-Pac. So I was trying to do the Bronco Buster, and like I just couldn't.
His may have been weird. But like
do I have to like throw them in a corner first and then?
Yeah, you might have had to like. So yes, So in this game, you build up the attitude meter, and at some point, like it's flashing white and it's like red, and it looks like the red's about to pulsate outside. If you taunt, you then hit special mode. Most people have pretty straightforward finishers. I'll use Stone Cold as an example. Stone Cold, you have to do that strong grapple where you hold an A and he does like that little wind up and grab, and then you flick the you do like a taunt again, essentially with the same control as a taunt, and then he will hit the stunner. What's cool about that is that mode will stay. It's a time base, so like just because you hit it doesn't mean it goes away. So you can keep doing it in like that 20-second or 10-second span or whatever you have. So like I can pull all 3 stunners in a row if I time it perfectly. But like for X-Pac, you might have to get them into the corner, standing up, and then do a strong grapple, and then flick that stick to see.
Gotcha.
Maybe that's how you do the Bronco Buster. Or maybe you have see that stuff gets weird though, because you have to kind of look up a specific player guy, because you might have to run at him like the Bronco Buster was. You might have to run at him and flick the stick. I don't know.
Right.
But yes, some of those weirder ones, like Jeff Hardy, he is going to be the Swanton Bomb. Like you would have to like kind of get up on the turnbuckle first and then flick the stick, so he would do the Swanton Bomb. But others have you have to do it from behind instead of in front. So it depends on the condition of the finisher. But yeah, no, special meter, then flick that stick once you get into that condition.
Thanks.
Do you know if anyone has dumped the source code to this game? Because I would love to dig through the programming that was involved with like every individualized wrestler and condition, all of that stuff. Like it had to be so much work and so much planning. And again, like the attention to detail on display here, right from the start, like when you go to choose, at least again, exhibition, you can choose between stages, but like just seeing like you could do SmackDown, you could do Raw. Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking Raw is War, but yeah, you could do Raw, you could do WrestleMania, and like they each had different layouts and different things. Like, I don't know, all of that just felt extra. Like, you didn't need it. You could have just done one ring, but like they did 5 right out of the gate, or 6, whatever it was. Let alone like all of the, like, looking out in the stands while you're wrestling, all of these characters there's so many unique individuals in the stand with unique signs and unique animations. Granted, they're just like 2 frame cycles of still images, but it's enough to like give life to this game in a way that, I don't know, it is impressive. I don't know. The weird thing to me is that like I still want to play it. That doesn't make any sense.
And also, like, again, that's a little small attention to details, like you were saying. Like, when you hit a big move and that instant cut to replay where it does it like twice in a row, like in a 2-second time span, it feels like you're cutting on a TV, like they would like if a big moment happened on, in watching it for real.
Very animated.
Yeah, it's just a really good wrestling game.
Now, do you know if like Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, the Japanese counterpart, to something like this? Do you know if like they have anything like or,
I don't know.
Like, I wonder how much of this was like done for something like that, and then they just brought it over, worked on it for the WWF license, because it seems like the developer at least was behind a bunch of big wrestling titles of the era.
I do not know. I don't know much about the Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, and then the developers kind of after the fact, or leading up to it. I really don't. I was 8, so, and I never
did they also
care to go back and backtrack.
No, yeah.
Did they also do that WCW game versus NWO?
Yes.
Because it feels like a lot of the same animations. I was like, why does this feel so familiar? But I know I
it's a
never
debate
played
of
this
whether
one.
this one's better than that one. That's always like, everyone says WCW versus NWO, like that's their No Mercy for the WCW side. And then, so there's always that.
Because like
debate.
I remember when like you get your special, right, and you can't use it yet, but you get knocked down. You smack the ring that you get. I was like, that's so familiar. I remember seeing that. Like everything just it feels like I got on a bike I never rode before. It was just, man. Very good.
How about the SmackDown Mall, aka where you go to edit, and you can edit the actual wrestlers themselves, right? Like existing wrestlers, but you can also create your own here. And I mean, just looking at it, I know, Matt, you've got the experience here and the details, but like just first glance, you look at it, the character customization options on display are far better, not just than wrestling games today, but just most games that tout character customization as an option. This is like, it's like they built a way for them as developers to easily modify and implement character customization for themselves, just to make sure they had a varied roster. And then they said, okay, what if we just turn that into UI for the player to interact with? Because it was like every facet of a character on display you could tweak and customize, and insane.
I mean, I did not go back to it, so I have not seen those screens since I was like 10. Honestly, I should have just opened it just to peek at it, but I mean, I remember it being robust. And then on top of editing every facet of appearance, you had the opportunity to edit every facet of your moveset. I'm talking like every part of it.
Yeah.
Every part of it. The grapples, weak, strong, which direction. The strikes, which strikes.
Yeah.
Your long strikes, what you do on the turnbuckles, what you do when the opponent's against the turnbuckles, what you do going outside, like everything.
And you know what? It's probably because like a lot of the characters share a lot of the same like polygon like character model, because it's all just like texture based for the design, so you don't have to worry about loading any of that stuff in. It's just like one character model doing all these things.
One thing I didn't look, did they do the thing, and actually I can't remember now if Perfect Dark actually pulled this off or if it was just something they planned on doing where you could scan your own face in, but do they have a thing in here where you could put your own face on a...
Oh, I don't think so. I do not
That
think
would have
so.
been funny to see if there was like a weird 64. You like, oh, hook this camera to the back of your controller. And
there were things that like Rare messed around with to try and do that, so you could put your face on enemies in Perfect Dark. But I mean, this, like, I know it looks, a little silly, looking back at it today, but like you can see all the characters' faces and they're distinguished and they're they're like bitmapped faces and stuff. I wonder, because this game is still incredibly popular, I wonder how much of that stuff, like, people have put together net play for this, I'm sure, right?
I'm sure.
But I know that, like, there's versions of it now where people are, like, actually breaking into the ROM and dumping the entire current WWF roster or whatever you can think of. Like, it seems like a very, very robust, detailed fan community.
Holds up.
Also, virtually no load times.
Yeah.
Like,
no, even the start screen. Like, if you hit start right away, you're pretty much there.
Yep. Just impressive. Super impressive. Yeah, I didn't think I'd, like, walk away from this wanting to play more of it.
Also, great main menu music. I mean, come on, you just sit there is... What's cooking?
I mean, even from the title, when you hit start the first time and the glass breaks, like, just that sound effect alone is, like, iconic and of that era. Yeah, this one is super good. It actively makes me want to do a Free Cheese Wrestling Season 2 with this game.
I need the...
like,
you need the right ROM, you need the right game, though. You need the right card. You need that patched one.
Yeah.
I gotta correct myself earlier. You said Warzone for PlayStation. It was just Warzone for 64.
Okay.
That I had. But I'm thinking of the music in that we're talking about it, because that was just like a MIDI file for like 5 seconds, and that was your character intro, and then it was just silence, and you just walk down a ramp to silence. Like
that game is rough. I mean, it was cool at the time when you didn't know better, but that game is rough. So is Attitude, WWF Attitude. Ugh, God.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this was. Would you say, Matt? I mean, you've kept up with it. Would you say that was the peak of wrestling? Was this time period?
Yeah, probably. I mean, this is peak Attitude Era. This is the one that everyone's fond of. I mean, of course, you're looking at it 22 years later. When you go back and actually watch those shows, there's a bunch of bad crap that is happening. Like, I'm not just saying, like, insensitive crap now, in today's time, but I'm just saying, like, just bad matches, bad gimmicks, bad, it's just, like, the ceiling was just so high, because at any moment that glass could shatter, out comes Stone Cold, and then here comes the greatest heel of all time, Vince McMahon, strutting down to his music, and it's just that era. You just don't have superstars like that anymore. I don't think you can, with the way there were so many eyes on the product at that time, just because there wasn't the internet, there wasn't all these streaming platforms, there wasn't all these channels. It was just
there's too much competition for our attention these days to have, I think, that level of
I mean, John Cena is a well-known figure, right? I mean, he came out of it later than Stone Cold and The Rock and all that, but, like, I don't know. John Cena's big, but he never feels Stone Cold or The Rock big, and I don't think he ever will. And it's not his fault. He's a great performer, actor, wrestler, all that stuff. It's just the times are different. But yeah, that is the peak, right around probably like 98 to 2002 is probably when Austin. Honestly, probably when Austin retires. That's probably it's probably when the momentum starts to slow.
I mean, I definitely got out of it, if not then before then. Like, I don't know. Trying to think, like, this came out when I was 11, so I feel like 11, like, I'm in middle school at that point. I probably was, I don't know. I feel like by the time I got to middle school, I wasn't as into wrestling.
I made it to Lesnar kind of started to show up for the first time, but it wasn't too far after Lesnar that when he first showed up that I was out, because I remember knowing, like, the entire roster for the PlayStation 2 Just Bring It. But yeah, no, this is it, man. It's awesome.
But again, the game itself is just so wholly good, I think. Yeah, I want to keep playing around with this one. just to see, like, I didn't mess with any of the, like, stuff, but, like, you know, what you were able to pull off in Free Cheese Wrestling with the newer wrestling games, where you can make a character with blue skin and spiky hair and call it Sonic. I mean, you could do a lot more in those games, but, like, can you go skin change? Like, you know.
Oh, I don't remember. I really don't. I'm going to probably say no, but...
yeah. I wonder how weird we could get with this. Even if we just made custom stupid wrestlers to play around with, I think that could be interesting.
Right.
But, yeah.
Oh, like another attention to detail thing with the character creation, like weight matters. Did you ever all play, I guess, a super heavyweight? Like a Mark Henry or someone?
I mean, yeah, like
you just can't suplex them. You have to have a appropriate attitude meter advantage before you can able to suplex them. Like when you pull it off, it's a big bump, but if you don't, it's a big loss too. So like little things like that as well.
Yeah, like Trish could suplex Kane no problem, but if I try to suplex Kane, he just threw me back down.
Yeah. The wedge ain't gonna make it too far.
Oh, the wedge will rise.
That's good. That's very good. You can see the poster for it now. We'll come back and rank WWF No Mercy at the end of the show. But of course, we're going to talk all things tangentially related to No Mercy throughout the rest of our episode here. We're going to move into our segment Many Years Ago Today, where we look back at news stories from... It's kind of broadened as we've gone on this season. This week, we've got a news story from 10 years ago, and then I've got two from 20 years ago, around the time...
That's 2 10s.
Let me see here. So I've got one from 10, 20, and then 22, around the time this game released. Let's go back 10 years quickly and check out this report. Apparently, Batman Arkham City is going to add Harley Quinn DLC, according to a leaked trophy listing. It points to forthcoming add-on content focusing on Harley Quinn, including Robin as a playable character. This comes from an updated trophy listing at ps3trophies.org. The site lists 10 new Harley Quinn DLC trophies for Arkham City that appear to be for story-driven content as opposed to simply additional challenge rooms. Some of the challenges task players with defusing bombs, finding a way into a secret base, and zip-kicking thugs. And additionally, one of the trophies unlocks after players use 5 different quickfire gadgets as Robin, indicating that he will be a playable character in the content. Of course, this did come to fruition. I pulled this one because, well, one, it happened 10 years ago this week, but also, how do you guys feel about surprises like this being leaked by trophies?
I'm messing up the date of release for Arkham City. Arkham City was already out at this point, right? And then it was
Arkham City was October 2011, and then this is about 6 months later. So in the spring of 2012, we're expected to get DLC, but it's leaked ahead of time.
I think I'm like both sides of the coin.
Do we know how this ended up being announced? Was this just like a press statement, or did they have a trailer somewhere big?
If it were April, it probably was just a quick little
Like, I think...
Hey, this thing's out.
I think, like, as a player, or like as a fan of the game, I think I would be excited, but at the same time, if I'm online just, like, looking around, I don't want that to be the headline. I want it to be like, hey, some things have been leaked with the achievements. If they're a little vague about it, and then it's up to you to click on it if you want to see more. If there's that type of thing involved, I can respect it. Otherwise, like, come on, like, it's cool, but come on.
There's a lot of issues with
do you
that.
feel like that's changed in 10 years? Where now, like, this headline might read, Batman Arkham City adding new villain to DLC rather than adding Harley Quinn to DLC?
No. So all right, all right. It will say adding new villain to DLC, but the thumbnail picture will be of Harley Quinn.
Or you just have like a bunch of people on Twitter like just saying it without caring, you know, like you might have some sites that might try to be careful, but then you have other people on like maybe like Reddit forums or Twitter or wherever, and just like boom, they're just so excited that they don't even think about considering spoiling.
I will say that I've noticed, anecdotally speaking, just like peeking around at things, that I feel like people have gotten a little bit better with movie-related spoilers. Like, for both that new Spider-Man movie and that Batman movie, I felt like, you know, the initial bits of time after, I didn't see many people like openly whatever, where now I was like scrolling through something the other day and it was just like all of this stuff from this Spider-Man movie and I was like, oh, all right, I guess I don't have to see that now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's gotten a little bit better. I also pulled this specifically for the Harley Quinn piece because Harley Quinn was not Harley Quinn at that point. I feel like now Harley Quinn is, in some circles, an icon that and that character's become a lot more popular as DC, I think, tried to find its answer to Deadpool. And I don't know, I think she's kind of graduated into her own right. The kind of like presence on screen and that portrayal of the character has then turned back into the comics where, like, I don't know, one of the biggest runs of Batman recently, comic book wise, Harley became his new Robin. Not literally Robin, but like, you know, she was working with him on stuff. I mean, like, she's kind of like become more of that anti-hero, you know?
I want to say like Arkham put her in the spotlight.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that certainly helped. But I think the big news, I mean, it was cool having Harley, but I think why it was a big deal and it was mentioned with Harley is just the way Arkham City ends. Because, I mean, that was a major ending in that time. Sure. And then the fact that we're getting DLC and it's a character related directly to event that happened. I think that was a big deal. This, you know, not only were we getting a side quest, but it was a side quest after the events of that game, which, you know, it was a, you know, not necessarily a sequel to the game itself, but some extra content closure and, you know, extra details into maybe what did happen or why or after effects.
Yeah. Our next news story from 2002, March 28th. Nintendo promises a big 2002. In a conference call in Tokyo, Japan, Nintendo said that it was banking on 2002 to be its biggest year. The company promised that it would release 13 internal titles between April 2002 and March 2003 in Japan. This year is the year to make it because the second year of sales is usually when they reach a peak, said Shigeru Miyamoto, general manager of Nintendo's Entertainment Analysis and Development Division. At the conference, the company reiterated its July 19th launch date of Mario Sunshine in Japan, and also said that The Legend of Zelda would be released sometime before the end of the year. I've heard that before. Both titles will be playable at the Electronics Entertainment Expo. Haven't really heard that one recently. The firm also announced, Matt, that Mario Party 4 is in development and will debut in 2002. Second-party offerings such as Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem and Star Fox Adventures, meanwhile, will be available this fall in Japan. Metroid Prime and Koro Kirby would likely see a Japanese release this fall, too. And any other reference to specific games? F-Zero GC by Nintendo and Sega, and F-Zero AC for the Triforce arcade hardware.
GC and AC? That's weird.
Yeah, I guess GameCube and arcade
cabinet.
Which is what it should be, because it became GX and AX.
Well, the X's are cooler than C's, dude. You think maybe somebody just slipped on the keyboard, hit the wrong thing?
Maybe they did that with my name.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then Sega of America told IGN Cube that it is not planning to make any announcement regarding North American versions of F-Zero AC. In closing, Iwata then touched once more upon a GameCube online network.
Yeah.
So, looking back, 20 years, I mean, what did we end up getting out of those 13 titles? Did we get all of them?
I don't know.
That depends if Koro Kirby is the Air Ride like equivalent.
I feel like it is. I'm looking it up now.
Otherwise, I would say yes.
Interesting. This is coming up and saying it's Tilt and Tumble.
Ooh.
For the Game Boy Color.
Dude, that game was... I don't know how we were able to play that game. Because it was hard enough to play on a Game Boy Color. It's not backlit. And then trying to see where you are, and you have to, like, have it eye level half the time. Or maybe that was just me playing weird. I probably could have had it down a little further, but... You gotta flick that Game Boy. It's hard to see, but I loved it.
I don't know. This one just seemed interesting to me because of this week's delay of Breath of the Wild 2. We still haven't heard anything about a Mario game. You know, like a big
we still
follow
got,
up to
like the end of this year for stuff, and there's nothing announced for that yet. Right?
Yeah, just like kind of looking back at when, you know, GameCube was one of the lower selling consoles for Nintendo, but it still had all of these big things, and now here we are with one of the most successful. If not, is it there yet? Is Switch? I guess not DS, right? It's over Wii, but I think DS still has it beat.
Slowly approaching.
Yeah.
Or quickly approaching, I should say.
But how do you feel, I guess, Switch currently is stacking up against, you know, the GameCube legacy?
I mean, I don't. And yeah, I for sure think the Switch is. I mean, the numbers support it, but I think like the Switch is doing better. I don't know.
I'm thinking software specifically, you know.
Yeah, I wasn't big into GameCube, so I don't know. At that time, at least, I don't know like what's out at this point versus Switch in that same time frame or whatever.
I feel like as far as first party goes, because games just take longer to make too, there isn't as much. But I think they definitely had more hits, or more, or if they're not hits, at least more games that stood out more. You know what I mean? Like on GameCube, like they felt more distinctive. And now we're just in like such a post polishing and whatever, like Nintendo just feels different. Like they feel like GameCube era felt more like experimental, and now they're just like, all right, we kind of know what we want to do, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. They're whatever reasons that happen, just everything is just taking longer to have these things. So it's like, I could only tell you maybe like 3 or maybe 4 at most, like Nintendo IPs that stand out compared to what GameCube has.
Mark saying first party triggered thoughts. The third party support has been the big pusher for Switch, I feel like. There's a big difference there. GameCube, of course, had it with their big Capcom stuff, but it ended up falling away. Switch has still been very strong with third-party support from the big publishers, including getting some on board that have not been there before, like EA and stuff like that. And then, of course, like this became the next Vita in a way. It became the indie darling on the go. So, like, it won back some publishers because of the success it's been seeing, and then it kind of just took over the Vita as PlayStation has slowly not given the Vita so much life over the years.
Yeah. I do find the one thing I think is unique here or interesting is the like variety of first party titles that are being discussed, where I don't know. I feel like there
It's calculated. It's calculated. It's because you can't be as experimental. The games are too expensive, and that's where you see all the indie stuff come up with creative ideas because they have a smaller budget and they're willing to take a risk.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Our final news story, the top 10 selling video games for November 12th through November 18th, 2000. So this is the week that WWF No Mercy launched. Any guesses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm probably off by a year, but Majora's Mask. Is that in there?
Majora's Mask is at number 5.
Yeah.
Is this, I'm sorry, I heard top 10 sell and I kind of blacked out because I started thinking, is this just Nintendo or
all platforms?
All platforms.
I have it by platform, but yeah.
I'm trying to think, is like a FIFA in there?
No.
Yeah, we're not there yet, I guess.
Was GTA 3?
Madden won't be on there.
Was that 2000?
This is a year before GTA 3.
Okay. Oni.
Is there a Medal of Honor on there? So, we're not quite at Call of Duty yet.
No. No, okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, this...
Tekken Tag Tournament?
You said Tekken Tag Tournament?
Tag's not out yet. That's PS... Oh, wait, no. That's a launch title for PS2. Right.
Tekken Tag Tournament is not in the top 10, but it is number 3 in the top 5 selling PS2 games. Interestingly enough...
Is Crash on there? Would it be Wrath of Cortex?
It is not.
Man.
Yeah. All right, let's go bottom up. And then, I can give you some highlights from... The interesting thing here is, like, the number 1 selling PS2 game was Madden NFL 2001. That does not rank on the top 10 selling games overall.
Yeah, Madden doesn't become big until 04.
Yeah, which, So, all right. Number 10 for the Sega Dreamcast, NBA 2K1.
Oh.
Interestingly enough here, I'm going to read these because they're listed here on this GameSpot article from 22 years ago. They also list the price for the games alongside, which I think is interesting. So NBA 2K1 for the Dreamcast was $50. Number 9 for the Nintendo 64, The World Is Not Enough, the James Bond video game with the blue cartridge, $50 as well. Number 8 for the Dreamcast at $49, Shenmue. Number 7 for the PlayStation, $40, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. This one's weird. Number 6 for the PlayStation at $39, Driver 2.
Must have just
Number 5, the aforementioned Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for Nintendo 64 at $60. These next two should be no surprise, but at $28 each, number 4 and number 3 for the Game Boy Color. Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Silver at number 3.
Yeah.
Number 2 on the Nintendo 64 for $62. WWF No Mercy.
$62. Damn.
And number 1 for the PlayStation at $41. Any guesses?
For the PlayStation?
For the PlayStation in 2000.
Final Fantasy 9?
Final Fantasy 9. Sorry, Mark, I didn't give you a chance to guess.
No, I mean...
Reacted to Matt too quickly.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Man, what
I knew 10 came later into the life cycle, so I just took a stab in the dark because I knew it wouldn't be 7.
Yeah. Real weird. But yeah, No Mercy over Majora's Mask, The World Is Not Enough, Hey You Pikachu, and Mario Tennis.
Mario Tennis is very good on 64.
Yeah.
Yeah, oddly enough, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is still in the top 5 at number 5, under Madden 2001 and Tony Hawk 2. But yeah.
Did No Mercy require the expansion pack?
It's a great question. I do not know the answer to.
I don't think it did.
Okay.
My friends had it though. I remember playing Gauntlet with all four of us because we had the expansion pack.
In fact, no, I know it didn't because I have I've got the hardware over there. Yeah, no, it does not.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's honestly even more impressive that it doesn't need it.
Yeah. Our next segment is This or That, where we have two things seemingly unrelated and find out, is it one of these things or one of those things? And Matt has prepared a little list for us here.
Yeah, I got some inspiration doing the World Heavyweight single player thing when I was doing the Royal Rumble early on in that campaign. When I'm just in the Royal Rumble, these wrestlers are just coming out, and I'm like, who the fuck are these people? So that inspired me, and with some help from Victoria, we're gonna play a game of wrestler or racehorse name.
Oh, I love this.
So, racehorse names, I did get them. Probably all of them are Kentucky Derby winners, so I got that from that list. And then all these wrestlers had to at least start in the Attitude Era. They may have stuck around, but from Attitude Era up is fair game, so nothing from like the 80s or anything like that. So you may know some of these guys. All right, I'm sorry. I got my answer key on the right here, which is in a completely different order than the order I'm going, so bear with me because I need it for some of these. All right, number 1, Kelso. And if you want spelling, I can provide that. Kelso.
Kelso's a wrestler.
Kelso's Ashton Kutcher.
You think it's what?
He said Ashton Kutcher.
That's okay.
Wrestlers?
Yeah, wrestler.
My gut says horse, but I'm saying wrestler.
It is a horse.
Yeah, all right.
All right, next one.
Gotta trust
Psychosis.
Psychosis?
Psychosis.
Wrestler.
Horse. I want it to be a horse.
That's a wrestler.
Dang.
Zenyatta.
Overwatch character.
Wrestler.
I'm going to say horse.
It is a horse.
Ah.
Sorry, I'm not keeping track of score, so we'll just have a.
Oh, it's fine. I never do.
All right. George Smith.
If this isn't
That's
a horse,
trick question. Yeah, that's a horse.
What? All right, horse Joe. What'd you say, Mark?
I said if I was more so threatening. I was like, if this is not a horse,
it is a
I'm gonna be
horse.
upset.
It is a horse.
Yes.
Good.
Funaki.
Wrestler.
Horse.
Wrestler. I actually think he was just let go by the company, but he used to do I think the Japanese broadcast. He used to be their play-by-play guy for them. The Blue Meanie.
That's a wrestler.
Wrestler. Brodus Clay.
Wrestler. Should be a horse, but it's a wrestler.
Wrestler.
The wrestler. Count Fleet.
Wrestler.
Horse.
It is a horse. War Admiral.
Horse.
Yeah, is this a war horse?
It is not a war horse, but it is a race horse. Sunday Silence.
Horse. That's a.
Yeah, horse.
It is a horse.
Yeah, it's too stupid of a name to be a wrestler.
That's a good name.
Smarty Jones.
Marty Jones?
Smarty Jones.
Smarty. Oh, see, that's different. Yeah, that's a horse.
Yeah, I'm going with horses as well.
It is a horse. Sheamus.
That's a wrestler.
I'm going to still go with
It's a
horse.
big red wrestler.
Sorry, Joe broke me. Yes, that is a wrestler. He's still around today. All right. Just checking your current knowledge as well. Tamina.
Tamina. That's one of the sisters from the... Tamina? I'm going wrestler.
Horse.
It is a wrestler.
What did I say?
You said wrestler.
All right, good. That's good.
That is a female wrestler as well. Jack Swagger.
Horsler.
I'm going horse.
Yeah, horse.
Wrestler.
Oh.
Gemini Jake.
Horse.
No, I'm going to say wrestler.
Wrestler.
What?
I believe the tag partner was Gemini Jack. As stupid
Okay,
as
that
that
makes
is.
sense.
Yeah.
Twins, yeah.
Jazz.
Wrestler.
Horse.
Wrestler. Another female wrestler. Hill Gale.
Wrestler.
Horse.
It is a horse.
Hmm.
I don't know the pronunciation of this. I don't know if it's swale or swale. I will just give you the spelling. Swale.
You sure it's not S-whale?
There was no dash.
I didn't ask if there was a dash. I asked if you're sure it's not S-whale.
Yeah, like, do any of the letters have, like, accents or whatever on them?
No. So I think it's swale, but
Okay.
All right, the fact you don't know it tells me it's a horse.
dude, that doesn't mean anything. I went to the depths of the Attitude Era and was like, who the fuck
You know
are
what?
these people?
I'm going to say wrestler.
It is a horse, though. So,
Damn.
Lena
That's wild.
Vachon. Or Vachon.
Wrestler.
Yeah, wrestler?
It is a wrestler. Summer Rae.
That's a horse.
Yeah, horse sounds right.
It is a wrestler. If I had told you that the spelling was R-A-E, would that have convinced you otherwise?
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would have.
All right. Eclipse.
Both.
Yeah, horsler? No, that's a horse.
Eclipse is a horse. Funny enough, though, Ember Moon, who's no longer with the company, but or with WWE, I should say, her finishing move was called the Eclipse. So if you both kind of worked, I guess, in a way.
I thought you were going to say, funny enough, she's now a horse racer.
Oh no!
She is now a horse.
No, I saw Eclipse and I was like, oh, we're not doing finishing moves. AP Indy.
AP Indy?
Trick question is a wrestler.
Yeah, it's this attitude person Indy. Yeah, that's wrestler.
It is a horse. It is a horse.
Of course.
Wow.
Maven.
That sounds like a diva. Let's go with wrestler.
Let's go. Yeah, wrestler.
It is a wrestler, not a diva, though. So Maven, funny enough, remember the hit MTV reality show Tough Enough?
I remember the name.
Vaguely.
He was the first season winner for the guys.
Oh, okay.
He appeared in like 3 matches, I think, on TV, and that was the end of him. All right, Maven, but not to be confused. Or sorry, Raven, not to be confused with Maven. Raven, totally different animal or person.
No, it's just Maven with a mustache. Wrestler.
Horse.
Raven is a wrestler. You all might like Raven. You should look him up. He's just like denim, dirtbag. He comes to the ring, just hangs out in the corner until his opponent walks up until the match is ready. It's pretty good. You should look him up.
The denim dirtbag is a good wrestler name, too.
I think we found Joe's.
Essa Rios.
That sounds like a horse to
Horse.
me.
That is a wrestler.
Whoops. Sorry.
And that is the inspiration for leaning towards this. Essa Rios came down to the Royal Rumble ramp, and I said, who the fuck is Essa Rios? And then I was like, there's probably some things here for wrestling names. So, yeah, Essa Rios is the inspiration for this. Foolish Pleasure.
That's a horse.
It sounds like a horse name.
It is a horse.
It sounds like something like some rich idiot's wife said, oh, he's got his foolish pleasure, and he said, I sure do, and then bought a horse. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's...
Gato del Sol.
Gato?
Gato del Sol.
Wrestler.
Yeah, wrestler. You wouldn't name a horse that.
Someone sure did, though. It is a horse.
Damn.
Kudos to them. They tricked me.
Tim Tam.
Tim Tam.
Tim Tam.
I don't know. Sounds like something's about to kick back.
Wrestler.
I'm going horse.
It is a horse.
All right.
Sir Barton.
Sir Barton?
Sir Barton.
That's a wrestler.
It sounds like wrestler, but I'm going to say horse.
It is a horse. Chuck.
Chuck.
Wrestler.
I'm hoping it's a horse just so I can say, hey, Chuck.
It is a wrestler. Chuck.
Because I won't be saying that anytime soon.
K. Quick. K. Quick.
Horse.
Wrestler.
Wrestler. Rod Rageous. Rod Rageous.
Wrestler.
It sounds like a wrestler.
It's a wrestler. Sonny.
Horse.
I think this is a trick. I'm going to say wrestler.
It is a wrestler. It is another... Ooh, am I confusing someone else? I think it's a female wrestler. Sorry. All right. Man O' War.
That is a horse.
Wrestler.
It is a horse. Black Caviar.
Horse.
Wrestler.
It is a horse. Also, this may have gotten messed up in translation. It could have been caviar. It could have been cavalier. Autocorrect may have gotten me there. So, sorry if that threw you off.
Either way.
Burgoo King.
This better be a horse.
I'm going wrestler.
It is a horse.
Man, its fate is sealed.
The Hurricane.
That's a wrestler.
Horse.
That is a wrestler. That is the very green, wimpy man. Viscera.
Eviscera?
Viscera.
Oh, Viscera.
Wrestler.
Rhea wrestler.
It's a wrestler, and he is on the roster of No Mercy.
That would have been good if we got it wrong then.
Joey Styles.
That's a wrestler.
That's a horse.
It is a wrestler. I had to look at my answer key. I couldn't remember.
It's not a horse.
Dr. Fager.
Horse.
Horse?
Horse. 4 more. Bold Ruler.
Horse.
Yeah, horse.
It is a horse. I believe this is pronounced B squared, but the spelling is B2 in the exponent column, so it could be B to the second, I guess, as well. But I believe it is B squared.
Horse.
Yeah, horse.
It's a wrestler.
Wow.
Native Dancer.
Horse?
Yeah, horse.
It is a horse. And then Epico.
Horse.
Wrestler.
Wrestler. And that is it. Thank you for playing wrestler name or horse name. Or racehorse name, I should say.
Racehorse name. I like that.
Yeah, that was good.
They're one and the same. There's not a lot of...
for real, I was struck as I wanted to do the wrestler names because of just how I like the Essa Rios thing truly threw me off. I thought I knew that the New Mercy roster, and then he came down and was like, "Who the fuck is this? I don't remember this at all." And then I was like, "What is easily?" I just looked at Victoria. I was like, "What is easily confused?" And she was like, "Oh, for sure, racehorse names." And I was like, "Oh, I think you're onto something here." So I just started Googling, and I just had the Kentucky Derby winners were good enough for the names.
Yeah, there's like a couple I recognized, but not...
Like today I learned there's a horse that is knighted, there's a horse with a PhD, and there's a horse that's a burger.
Exactly. Wait, which one was the burger?
Burger King.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
One thing that WWF No Mercy did not have, because it was an N64 game, is trophies.
It had belts.
All right, fair. Never mind. Skipping this segment. Let's move on to our question of the week. Yeah, Matt, you've got yourself a trophy list for WWF No Mercy.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of the. I'll give you a couple. Again, I made a whole dumb list, as I usually do, but I'll give you a couple.
I love it.
I'll give you a couple, and of course, there's a platinum trophy at the end of all this with a platinum trophy name. I will give you the caveat now, just because I just want to throw that out, because it could have very well been a possibility. There are any of these trophies I'm about to tell you are not wrestler specific. They can be done they can all be done by anyone, I guess, at any time usually. I went away from the wrestlers specific because I could have gotten into the weeds of the roster if I really wanted to, and I decided that was too much work anyway to start making up all these different things.
You see, I think that's a fair thing for the player, because they can enjoy the game how they want to and still get the trophies. But this is definitely rife with opportunity for
sure.
Do this specific move with this person outside of the ring. Yeah.
I did have one written down, but I'm not going to do it. I had Mr. Chairman and Champion.
Would that be murder Vince McMahon while playing as so-and-so?
No, I had win a title with Vince McMahon.
Oh, okay. That's good. Because he would be the chairman and champion. I gotcha.
All right, so we have, let's start. The People's Champ.
I think just, complete the champ. Get a belt.
I had win all belts in single player.
Oh.
You can store finishers? ?
Just build up the meter by taunting.
This actually went with something I said earlier in the podcast with the way the finishers are.
Pull off a finisher like more than once.
I had 3 times specifically,
Three
but
times.
yeah.
Nice.
I know for a fact you can pull it off with Stone Cold. If you got to get the timing perfect for The Rock, but yeah, if Stone Cold can somewhat easily get done 3, so I'm sure there's other ones that are faster or whatever. Guaranteed ticket to WrestleMania.
Win a ladder match or what's the thing? Get the briefcase.
That's a guaranteed in real current wrestling. That is a guaranteed shot at the belt at any time. That is not the same as a guaranteed ticket to WrestleMania. There is another. You're on the right track with a match, but there's a certain type of match that guarantees you a WrestleMania main event. It happens in January.
The 30-man thing.
Royal Rumble?
Yeah. I had specifically for this one, win the Royal Rumble in the World Heavyweight Championship story, since that's very early on and is a big pathing thing. Once the wrestler, now the booker.
Graduate to manager? Is that an option in this? I don't know what
No. It has to do with kind of mode exploration. More so it's like kind of doing not one of everything, but exploring the game modes, encouraging you to try other things.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Any
cool.
guesses or
I forget that I'm trying to memorize or recall the menu options, and I don't remember them at all.
You had to hit R and L to switch between them, and it was you could just jump into it, or you could then it was single player stuff, and then it went to the SmackDown Mall, and options were in the third section.
It is in that first menu, which is the multiplayer menu.
Man.
watch a match of 4 computer players?
No, make a pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view
Pay-per-view is right on that first list, and you can go through and make climb to the top.
Ladder match.
Yeah.
Win a ladder match.
Oh, I was gonna say, maybe it's a trick. Maybe it's a cage match.
No, it's yeah.
Peace
out.
Get a
Leave
ring
the
out?
ring?
Mark, you just said it.
Yeah, get a ring out.
No. You said it before. You said it for the last.
Oh, the cage
trophy.
match.
Yeah, escape the cage.
Right.
Win by escaping the cage match. A king has been crowned.
Win the Royal Rumble. Well, wait, no, because that's.
It is another option in that multiplayer submenu.
Get elected mayor of South Dakota?
Not quite. Almost.
Oh, all right.
Mayor of Knoxville, though. That's Kane.
That's what I was thinking of. Who went for South Dakota? Was that Ric Flair? Or was he Georgia? I don't. Anyway, sorry.
This is win King of the Ring.
King of the right.
Time for a new gimmick.
I'm gonna say edit a superstar.
Bingo. Change the appearance of an existing wrestler.
Nice.
Are you tough enough? TM.
Oh, okay.
Is that win an Iron Man match?
That would be a decent one for that, but I'm going with the tough enough TM here.
Yeah, so that was a reality TV show where it was like a...
I think you're overthinking it just a little bit.
Shoot. All right.
It's just create a wrestler.
Punch the camera.
Okay. It's just create a wrestler.
Okay.
I didn't know if the TM was like a nod towards me or if it was a nod towards...
Nope. I figured it was good publicity for the a good chance of publicity for that show.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The undisputed champion.
Like win 2 seasons back to back or whatever win 2.
You're on the right page, Mark.
I was just gonna say just win like a heavyweight belt.
Have all the belts on one character.
Dang.
No Mercy.
Oh.
We're almost done. I'm just
Shoot.
keep going through them.
There's something at the... Because there's the meter.
Mm-hmm.
Is like a win by like TKO or something?
Not quite.
Or like making them like tap out?
So it is based on the meter. You have your conditions. I don't know if you all saw it, depending on how long a match went, but you can build it to get your special. You can also fall into danger, but there's a third condition if a wrestler has been beaten enough.
Oh, no, I don't think I ever got to that.
Yeah, I didn't get that far.
So there is another condition. It's called losing it. And wrestlers passed out, grabbing something, on the ground, grabbing something is not close to getting up. Like if you see losing it, you should have pinned them by now and won.
Sure.
But in a match like a ladder match, if they're in the losing it condition, they're going to be on the ground for a bit for you to climb the ladder. So I said,
okay.
send your opponent into losing it status. Over the top rope, but not 2 feet. So, over the top rope and both feet hitting the ground is a very famous Royal Rumble rule. So, it's a play off that rule. I'll get you thinking in that direction.
Dude, I had a dream about this last night. Hold on.
Is this just doing just like an elbow drop from like?
No, I think you're in the Royal Rumble match. I would think about that.
Oh.
I would think about that.
Oh, just fucking throwing them over, but they're not out, or they're throwing you, but you're not out.
Yeah, survive going on the ringside in a Royal Rumble match. So you can get tossed out of the ring, but there's usually that condition where you're kind of like on the apron outside. At that point, if you get punched, run into, grappled, you're usually gone. But you can, if like the timings are weird, you can get back in on your own. You can also reverse out of a move from that state as well. But yeah, that is that condition. Get outside, but make your way back in before being eliminated. Play by my rules. Last three.
Play a custom match.
Think match type. Think match type.
Play a custom match type.
No.
Good.
Is it like a custom?
No, this isn't. It's a match type. You don't have to do anything custom. It's a match type.
Guest ref
plays the special guest referee in a special referee match. Busted open.
Make someone bleed.
Correct.
That's good.
And then this is a play on Royal Rumble, but it does not have to do anything with the Royal Rumble. All entrants confirmed.
Is this like unlock everyone?
Or that's good.
Unlock all wrestlers. Because like I said, it's a very much a weird Smash Bros. Because you have to beat some things with some characters. Like I think you have to do win championships with Mankind to get Dude Love or Cactus Jack or any of them because they're all in the game. It's stuff like that. But yeah, no, that's to get all the wrestlers. And then what would be your Platinum Trophy name? And I'll give you mine.
Let's see, Platinum Trophy name.
Welcome to the Attitude Era.
I'm gonna say, bow to the masters.
I thought you were gonna say suck it.
I mean, yeah, that works too.
I was so convinced to start doing all the taunts. Like that was another thing I could have did with wrestlers. Like give middle fingers to your opponent, do suck it to your opponent, have your do the just bring it to your opponent, like all those. But I decided not to go down that because that would have been there forever. Yeah, you said bow to the masters, DX play. Use what'd you say, Joe?
Who knows? Suck it. Go suck it.
I used Mr. McMahon's theme song and went with "You've Got No Chance in Hell."
Oh, that's good. That's pretty good. Especially because then you're taunting the player to get the platinum trophy. Yeah, that's very good.
But yeah, no, again, this could easily have been anything wrestler specific. You could have went back and tried to recreate, like, have a trophy related to a past match, like have, Triple H pedigrees The Rock. I don't know what match that could have been at, but just...
I wonder, because there is a thing now called, like, retro achievements.
Oh.
Where through RetroArch, you can kind of, like, integrate this stuff and, like...
I didn't even know that.
I'll have to look into that for this. But yeah, there's a thing where like people build stuff. So I wonder if someone has built a list of achievements for this. Be interesting. Thank you for putting that one together, Matt.
I like
that. Our question of the week. Really, what do you do with other people's save game data? If you've ever... rented a cart or something like that. So two instances of this that made me think of this is one, this game this week, Matt has the N64 cart that you bought in the last couple of years and it's just here. I don't know why it's here, but
I
it's
don't have
here.
an N64. I just wanted to buy it. I don't know. It was in the moment.
But yeah, so there's, firing that up and having other data on there. I don't know if that was from when you were... Did you screw around with it? I don't even know.
I don't think I really did. No.
And I also just bought a PSP from Japan a couple weeks back, and it came with a memory stick. And going through it, there's like somebody's Monster Hunter 1, 2, and 3 portable saves. There's all like Taiko no Tatsujin save for PSP, like all this stuff. And I got a memory card adapter so I can use an SD card and not use that. But I am preserving whoever's stuff that is on that memory stick eternally, because I looked at the like hour count, like the memory or the Monster Hunter save had quite a bit. I was like, I can't erase that or reformat this. There's someone's whole life. What do you do with other people's save game data, Mark?
It depends on the game, but for the most part, my instinct is to just get rid of it. Unless it's like, I mean, look, they got rid of it for a reason, right? Like they don't care anymore. Why should I?
Yeah.
But if it's a game like let's say I got like a GameCube memory card and Smash Brothers is on there, like Melee, and all the characters are unlocked. Cool. I don't got to do it anymore. I'll just use that save. You know, like stuff like that when it comes to unlocks. Or like if they have saves from games that I have, and maybe they have more progress, I want to check and see what maybe they have done. So I will be curious enough to peek and see what's going on or see what they unlocked or whatever. But ultimately, it will all go away unless it's like something I actually need, or like if there's a save that did the dirty work for me, or the hard work rather. I might keep it depending on the game, but otherwise, sorry.
Matt, have you interacted with other people's save games?
I usually don't. I took that Majora's Mask creepypasta to heart and don't fuck with anyone's save data. No, unless it's like a in a game like No Mercy or Pokemon where there's only one save and that's it. Like, sorry, it has to go.
Yeah.
But if it's like Legend of Zelda usually gives you like 3 slots, right? Like,
still erase them.
I don't erase them. I'll just keep them. Cause
sorry,
what I would do, if I ever got to that point where I completed the game or whatever, I would then go to theirs and just poke to see where they were at, just to be curious. Then just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I never deleted it unless I needed to for my own game. I was kind of, I don't know. I don't think I ever. I was joking about the Majora's Mask thing. I don't think I ever had bad vibes from it. I didn't need to get rid of it, so why get rid of it?
Yeah, I think in most cases it's like if it was impeding me starting a new game, gone. If there were multiple slots, like I would copy it to another one depending on the thing. When it was a rental game, it was tough because you felt bad, like was that person waiting on getting this back because they clearly didn't finish, and I don't know. So I'd try to be cautious of that, but you can't always.
Thought about it. Never even thought about that stuff back then.
Depended on the game.
Yeah, but like it would be cool if you got like a rental and like maybe something like, and like they were completionists. They did everything for you. It's like right on. All right, cool.
Yeah,
get my money's worth in a way.
I don't know. I never thought of it like that because I always took rentals as like a trial period to decide if I, do I start trying to convince my mom to buy it so that way I have it.
Right, but there's probably some kids who just couldn't even do that,
Right.
Like that was their only way. It's like tough.
Yeah, it's rough. Listeners, podcast at thefreecheese.com. Let us know what you do with people's save game data. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I guess at this point, a lot of saves are going to end up dying with the battery, but I don't know. It's interesting. There's also like the aforementioned kind of like modernization of video games via adding achievements. There's now things where people can back up and distribute their saves for different games, so you can implement them in ROMs. There's also ways where, depending on the game, people have created tools where you can just kind of like plug in key progress data and generate a save. So if you need to like jump in to a specific spot of a game or something, you can do things like that.
Well, isn't Nintendo's online stuff doing some of that with some of the games where they give you?
Yeah, for sure. Like they have those like save state things ready to go. Yeah. I think that stuff's interesting with, revisiting an old game in a new way. I think those are...
Yeah, like a Master Quest kind of idea, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we close every episode here on Season 10 with the ranking of the game of the week. We're going to do just that for WWF No Mercy. Boy, what a tough one. I don't know. Anybody have a gut?
I might be too high on this.
We'll see.
I'm putting it above MGS2.
Ooh.
You haven't. I mean, obviously, I haven't written my review yet. My little blurb, and I haven't decided on a score. But I'm leaning towards one way on a score, and I like coming back to this game and realistically playing it and sinking some time into it. I had so much fun. I forgot how good this game is. I mean, yeah, it's a wrestling game at its core, but it does everything right in a wrestling game. This was made in 2000. Current wrestling games still can't do half the shit that this game did. There's a little bit more, you can layer things of, in your character development or whatever, and there's online play and stuff that, you're never going to be able to replicate on an N64, but it did everything it possibly could have in 2000, and it rocked, and maybe some nostalgia crept in there, but dude, it is awesome. I had so much fun playing it this past week. I might still continue to play it because I was having so much fun. That's where I'm at. I'm high. I know I'm high, but I just need to throw that out there.
But hey, but there's two of us who haven't played this before, right? For this moment, and like when I played it, I was surprised how well it holds up visually. Mm-hmm. The gameplay is it's a little wonky because it's a 64, and like what game didn't suffer from like a weird controller scheme, right?
Yeah, go back and play Mario 64.
I mean, yeah, like it's just a very experimental phase for video games.
Yeah,
but like even so, it still found a way to be simple and complex, and there's just no bullshit. Like that's should have been the name of this game instead of No Mercy. Like,
yeah, nice.
And like I was like,
please
I was
write
actually
that in your review.
Make a note. I was actually like, this was going to be either above or below Guitar Man, but the fact that you were putting it above Metal Gear, I'm with you. Now, like, I'm convinced to put it above Metal Gear.
Like my gut was right below Guitar Man, above SSX Tricky, but let's do it. Let's party. Our new number 3, WWF No Mercy.
Yeah, like what you saw in the character creator. I mean, I know I didn't really revisit it, but I just remember, like, as you start to accumulate the money from doing everything and unlocking all the different wrestlers, because I believe, if I remember correctly, when you unlocked the other wrestlers, you got their movesets implemented and their costume, like, their attires and stuff implemented. So in combination with the SmackDown Mall, buying it and unlocking like that just continued to flesh out over time as you kept putting hours and progress into it.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very, very good video game. Well, there you have it. If you want to follow along with the list, thefreecheese.com/thelist. As Season 10 continues next week, we will be returning to talk about Res Infinite. I'll say, if you want to just play Res, go for it. There's really only one key difference with Infinite, which is Area X, which is super great, and we're definitely going to talk about that. But, and Infinite's the only one kind of available on modern platforms. But do what you will to play along with us. Come back and talk. Why don't we close out really quickly? I also put together a this or that. I'm going to give you 3 of them.
Okay.
This was Wrestling Move. I'm sorry. Nope. I wrote that down wrong. My apologies. This is generic wrestler from a classic video game, or unlicensed Halloween costume name. Ready?
Yeah.
Factory Worker Girl. Is this a classic wrestling generic wrestler video game or an unlicensed Halloween costume name?
Oh, go unlicensed.
Yeah, this is an Oompa Loompa. They also have a sexy factory worker girl if you're
I was thinking like
interested.
I don't know why I was thinking like UPS for some reason.
I was thinking no, I was literally thinking like just a somewhat probably revealing female attire with a hard hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Tattoo.
Oh, that's a wrestler.
That's you know what? I'm going to see Halloween.
So Mr. Smiley was the Halloween costume. Mr. Tattoo is the wrestler. But yeah, it could have very well been Jared Leto's Joker. And then our last one, Misfit Sidekick.
Wrestler.
That's a Halloween costume. I think it's like Harley Quinn, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Harley Quinn, the Halloween costume.
Full circle.
Yeah. Yeah, you got
circle.
It. Pretty good. That is it for the Free Cheese episode 447, WWF No Mercy. Go play it if you haven't. And look up, too, if like, even if you're just like tangentially or lapsed with wrestling, I think look up and find some of those weird things that people have done with it through years to keep that game alive, because you can play it in all sorts of weird ways now. It's a very, very, very interesting game. We'll be back next week with Res Infinite. Till then, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. Bye.